Good morning. It is Tuesday morning. We're ready for a big mindset and heart shift from our mind to our heart this morning. Here's the question. Are you hanging on to your past? So are you hanging on to your past? Hey, we've all been hurt in life. Things have happened to us. We've all hurt other people, whether we meant to or not. Maybe it hasn't been intentional, but we've all experienced many emotional and certainly physical pains in our life. And we've all made mistakes. And if you've never made a mistake, then you've never tried anything new, right? And unfortunately, we learn more from pain in life than pleasure. So that seems to be the way it goes. So we all have stuff to heal from. Now, my personal greatest pain in my past, which, like all of us listening on here, we've had many pains in our past, but I've had one pain that has overshadowed all the pains in my life, which many of you know was watching my wife take her last breath. Now, I'm going to tell you this story that I may or may not have told before, and you're going to see how this relates to everyone on here, how it's going to help you release. You're going to identify what you might be hanging on to, what's holding you back, and then we're going to give you 3 principles that you can release all that energy, reframe it, and take your life and consciousness to a whole new level. And I'm just going to show you my personal story of pain and how I've evolved through that, so that can hopefully help you. So this was a life spiritual changing experience. So on November 28th, 2004, at 2 a.m., my wife was definitely, her body was completely broken down. She was normally 5'6", 120 pounds. She was probably less than 80 pounds. Body wasted away with cancer. And at 2 a.m. in the morning, she started this death moan. Woke me up out of dead sleep, and she just started moaning. And I was like, sweetheart, just let go. It's okay. Your family's fine. I was begging her for like an hour, just let go. Because I knew her next breath could have been her last breath. But she kept hanging on and fighting. And so about 13 hours later, this death moan filled the house. So at 3 p.m. that day, all of a sudden I noticed there was dead silence, pun intended. There was silence that was deafening. The silence was deafening because that moan was gone. So being a doctor, I reached over, I checked her carotid pulse, nothing. I checked her radial pulse, nothing. I checked her femoral pulse on her hip, nothing. And man, that was like you check people's pulses, there's always a pulse. There was no pulse. And all of a sudden, it felt like this 100-foot wave. It's like when you get caught inside and you're surfing and this 100-foot wave came and just came crashing down on me. In fact, I still remember I had a vision of like this 100-foot tidal wave, boom, exploded on top of me. And everything, every pain I ever felt, the whole year and a half from the diagnosis all the way through into her broken down body, to her last breath, wanted to come exploding out of me. Every emotion that I ever felt wanted to come exploding out of me at that moment. But here was the challenge. And this was the hardest thing by far exponentially that I've ever done in my life. She wanted her family that lived locally to come and view her body before they took her away because she was being cremated. So that tidal wave of emotion just crashed on me, and I didn't have time to cry. Pushing down those tears was the hardest, exponentially, the hardest thing that I've ever done. And I had to go make those phone calls. So her family came by, and then the next hardest thing happened. So later that evening, everybody had said their goodbyes. We called the coroner. He shows up in our bedroom with the gurney and the body bag, and I picked her body up. I put it in the body bag, and as I was zipping it up, I stopped right about here, looked at her face one last time, said goodbye, and then zipped it up over her head, and they took her away. Now, all of these visions are so strong in my mind, I could be there in the moment. Why? Because highly emotional conditions get wired into our brain so deeply that we can recall them like this. We can relive that moment like this. And because I buried all that emotion in there, so what moments, what pain do you have visions for that your mind keeps bringing up to your conscious mind, and that memory comes up, you put yourself in that position, maybe you have resentment, guilt, anger, shame, whatever it is, and you just want to keep pushing it back. You just keep resisting and pushing it back in your subconscious mind. But guess what? You're a spiritual being having a human experience. Your subconscious mind keeps bringing that up so you can clear the emotional energy in your body. That's why it keeps coming up. So every time you push it down, that memory and that energy in the body is the barrier that keeps holding you back. That's why it keeps coming up. That's why your spirit is telling you to clear it, because you have that emotional energy in your body. Now, what happened? I pushed all that energy down. So for the next 4 months, every month, once a month, I would get sick. I mean, a fever. I couldn't get out of bed. I'd have to stay in bed for 2 days. That's never happened since I've been in my 20s. So here I am in my mid-40s every month, 4 months in a row. I'm totally incapacitated with a fever and sickness because that emotional energy that I had to push down that day, because I felt like part of me, when I zipped up that bag, part of me died with her. And what was happening was my body was breaking down from all that stored emotion. That, I would say, is one of the number one causes of disease. A major cause of disease is we are humans, we emote, we experience emotions, and we hang on to those. The emotions of our past. It breaks our body down. It causes cancers. It causes diseases. And so here I was, I had to decide. By the 4th month, I had to decide that I'm literally killing myself. So I had to come into a moment where I said, I need to heal. I turned my life over to God. I turned it over to His direction. I turned it over to His healing. I decided that if I'm ever going to love unconditionally again, then I need to heal myself. And I began on this accelerated journey. Not only did I not get sick anymore, but I made a decision in a moment that I was going to be different. Joseph Campbell has a quote. It says, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." And the reality is that your greatest fear, when you're ready to approach your greatest fear, you will experience your greatest love. If you're unwilling to go into the cave of your greatest fear, you will never experience your greatest love. And so I began on this journey, and this greatest pain revealed my greatest gift. What is that? I learned how to love myself. And because I learned how to love myself, I learned how to love others and become accepting of others. And then God works through me to create You're More Powerful. You're more powerful than you think, and you're more powerful.com. So I have a question. Is there something you're hanging on to in your past that may be holding you back? How do you know? Those experiences keep coming to your mind. And every time you push it back, you're maintaining that barrier. So let's look at a couple spiritual principles. I'm going to give you a couple biblical verses. Philippians 3:13 and 14. Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press forward toward the goal, to the prize for which God has called me through Christ Jesus, which God has called you. You have a purpose. God is calling you. That's why you get those memories. That's why you have to clear it. You are called. So forget what's behind. Press forward. Luke 9:62. No one who puts a hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God. What's that mean? Literally, metaphorically, if you're on a plow, you better be looking forward. If you're on a plow and you're looking back, you're not gonna be able to plow the field, right? So what's that mean? You're not going to fulfill your purpose by looking at what's behind you, only by looking at what's in front of you. Isaiah 43:18-19. Remember ye not the former things, neither consider things of old. Right? Behold, I do a new thing, and it shall spring forth. Right? I will even make a way in the wilderness. So when you feel lost in the woods, God's making a way. And rivers in the desert. When you feel like you're walking through the desert, when you feel like you're deprived, God will make a river. And that was Moses walking through the desert. They didn't have any water. God said, tap the rock, and water came from the rock. Colossians 3:2. Set your affection on things above, not on things of the earth. What's that mean? Stay connected to God. Don't worry about what you're seeing with eyesight. Let's look with insight and follow the direction of God, and everything will begin to open up and you will heal. So life is not about what happened to you. It's about the meaning you assign. Now, I get it, because people say, but you don't know what happened to me. I get it. We've all been through stuff. Some people have horrific stories, and it seems like whenever we begin to have self-pity for ourselves, God puts someone in front of us that we hear their story, and then all of a sudden you're grateful for their pain. There's people with horrific stories that have gotten beyond it and done amazing things. And if they can do it, we can do it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 3 principles from You're More Powerful Than You Think book, and this is from the Healed System. 1, H, honor God within yourself. Hey, you're a spirit living a human experience. Your life, your purpose is predetermined. You're here for a reason. So do you believe that everything that happens in your life happens for a reason? Because if you believe that, then you have responsibility. You can't have it both ways, which means what? You can't be a victim to your experiences or your circumstances. Why? Because everything has a reason, which means you have to find that reason, find the gift, because whatever pain you've gone through has a benefit that's leading you toward your soul purpose. So if everything happens for a reason, then you have to take responsibility, find the reason, find the gift. Second principle, accept forgiveness for yourself and others. Forgiveness is seeing your brother as yourself, which means as God sees you, which means God sees you as sinless. So what's that mean? Every human being is a spirit, and they're operating at their level of consciousness. People that feel like they've offended you, people that feel like you're the violators, all they're doing is expressing their own pain. So when we find the reason, we find the gift, we're able to let go of that person, we're able to accept their level of consciousness, no matter what happened to us. But why does that experience? How is that experiencing leading you to your soul purpose? Because there's a reason. There's a gift. There's a story that you're going to tell someone that's been through the same thing, that you can help them through their pain as well. So what's the third principle? There is no failure. There is no failure. There's only learning. So 3 things, you learn 3 things from every challenge. Every challenge has a gift. So here's, when you find the gift, you release the pain. What are those 3 things? Those things give you courage. 3 things give you courage. They give you skill. They give you faith. So what's an example? I saw my wife take her last breath. I have the courage to love unconditionally and be totally vulnerable without fear of getting hurt. I have the skill to be able to communicate and the ability to have a healthy relationship. I have faith that no matter what we think is going to happen, that we only have today. Live in the moment, live with presence, live with love, and then we will probably have another great day tomorrow. So every challenge gives you courage, skill, or faith that gives us a gift. What's the second thing? 2 decisions. 2 decisions made in every challenge so we can find the gift and release pain. 1, what did you learn that was positive? It's not, hey, what am I going to avoid? I'll never do that again. No, what did you learn about yourself that made you clear on your core values? So what did you learn that's positive? Number 2, what am I going to do? So that's it. So we realize every challenge gives you 3 gifts: courage, skill, faith. And then there's 2 decisions you can make. It's, what did I learn that's positive? What did I learn about myself and about my life purpose? And what am I going to do from here on out? If you make these decisions and you change the meanings to these meanings, you'll be able to find the gift in every pain. You'll be able to find the reason for every challenge, and you'll be able to find the gift. You'll be able to be grateful for those pains because it helped you evolve to who you are today. Isn't that amazing? So rather than hang on to our past, let's redefine our past. Let's release that energy. Let's find the courage, skill, faith. What did we learn? What am I going to do? Get solid on our core values, be committed to our purpose, and you will have a joyful, peaceful, loving, fulfilling life. And if you need help on this process, go to You Are More Powerful, YOUARE, spell it out, youaremorepowerful.com. And let's make a difference. Let's fulfill our purpose, and let's bring others with us. Okay, love you guys.